You are viewing Wisdom Keys for Focusing on Your Passion. LaunchPad Consultancy, in collaboration with VisionWorks Solutions, bring to you Book Club Conversations Series 3. And in this series, entrepreneurs and professionals are reading the book, The Uncommon Dream, 31 Wisdom Keys for Focusing on the Passion of Your Heart, written by author Mike Murdoch. I am your host, Alina Lewis, and in today's discussion, chapter 12, it is entitled The Uncommon Dream Will Require the Miracle Hand of God. Joining me this evening once again for discussion is Roel Rollocks of VisionWorks Solutions. So we welcome Roel. Hi, how are you keeping, Roel?
Hello and good evening again. I'm good and excited. Mike Murdoch has me going with all these nuggets.
It's always great. And this evening we're taking a focus. He's taking us down a path of spirituality today. And he starts off by using that phrase that says, God will never birth a dream within you that is achievable without him. And Roel, even as I was reading this, I was thinking to myself that it explains why there is a healthy frustration that takes place with entrepreneurs. Because if it is that we were to look at the entrepreneurial journey from this sort of spiritual aspect that Mike Murdoch is bringing, it shows why there's always this pull and tug, because we're pursuing something that without that higher power, we're not going to be able to achieve. When you read that part of it, Roel, what were your thoughts?
What is the whole issue of faith? And as a believer, faith is central. Faith.
Your line broke up just a little bit there, Roel. Can you repeat that for me, please?
That sometimes seems beyond the You hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. Can you repeat what you were talking about there, please?
Yes, I was saying that this, when I read it, I immediately thought about faith and the reality that as an entrepreneur, as a business person in life in general, we are challenged to achieve the things that we want to achieve, like a stretch goal. And it often seems beyond us, and it really requires faith in God to believe, to pursue, and to hold on and to sustain that pursuit of the things, right? And it brings home to us that we need God in our lives. And we know that without faith, it's just impossible to please God and to make these things a reality. So that's what came to me, the whole issue of faith as being central to the believer's walk and living that abundant life and seeing success in your business.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And so even as we go on into chapter 12, Mike Murdoch makes a very strong point that says, when you decide what you want, God will be involved. That he gives you, he, in this case being God, will give you the uncommon dream to keep connected with him and perpetuate his plans and desires. That the uncommon dream requires God and his wisdom to complete it. My question to you, Roel, is this idea that Mike Murdoch is putting here brings an interesting twist, because in many instances, entrepreneurs get excited over the idea of being able to stand alone and being a powerhouse alone or independent of others. But here it is, Mike Murdoch is suggesting that if we're really tapping into the dream and the vision that is within, we have to recognize that it's connected to that higher power, and that God is needed and the wisdom of God is needed to complete that dream. How do you, as an impact strategist role, help entrepreneurs to understand how to bridge that gap between I want to be able to stand on my own, but recognizing there's a higher power driving me towards the passion that I have for what I do?
Well, it's something that happens as people are prepared for the saying that the teaching arrives when the student is ready. So it's not the kind of thing that you can impose on everyone that you meet, right? Not everyone is faith based, not everyone has that particular belief. But wherever there's opportunity, I do bring that to bear that we just not created to operate alone. We're created by God who has the ultimate plan for our lives. And another person says it like this, right? God is a manufacturer. You understand? He has a manual. Okay? He knows why how we created and for what purpose we created. And we connected with, you understand? So that we can operate effectively, in other words. All right? So he has the master plan, he has the tools, he has the guides, and following God's principles in our lives will bring best for us. Not that it's going to be the easiest road, but as we begin to work together with God, we'll see things accomplished. So it brings bear point I spoke earlier about faith, but faith has to be combined with works. So we have to meet God and be co-laborers with God, as it were, make these things a reality in us. All right.
Yeah, I totally understand. And even as you talk about believing and having that faith, whether faith in God, faith in the vision, faith in the thing that you want to accomplish, Mike Murdoch makes a point and says faith requires clarity. I know we'd have touched on it in earlier conversations, but could you take some time to share with those who be looking when you talk about getting clarity of vision? What exactly is it that we're talking about? Because there's a space where an entrepreneur might say, I want to start to sell nuts, or I want to open, a soda company, whatever the it might be. What does it mean to have clarity of vision from your perspective?
For me, it pertains to getting a clear picture of the end that you have in mind. One is has come to me maybe in the last 10 years is the importance of visualization. And it's something that I've been working through with clients now to get people to understand you have to take time to visualize the things you want to achieve. All right. You need to see it. You need to put yourself in a situation. So let's, for example, you're going to sell ice cream. So for example, you have to picture yourself in your ice cream coat. You have to picture yourself, your ice cream shop, what it looks like. You have to picture the customers. Put yourself in that place, and that helps to crystallize the image in your head. The next step that is required, you have to now attach goals and some objectives to that. All right. And that way it helps you to be accountable, and it helps you to understand where you are, to measure where you are in relation to where you need to go. So all those things bring clarity. And in fact, when you go through that process, it's really an iterative process. Because as you begin to put objectives down and plans down, particularly writing it, which I always recommend, it becomes a little clearer some of the things you may have to change. So you may have to adjust your plan. It's difficult to do that in your head. All right. But as you begin to write, as you begin to talk, as you begin to share, you pray to God, you share with other team members, it becomes a little clearer to you. Without that, you find that you can tend to miss your goals. It can tend to unnecessary frustration along the way, and you can find yourself just lost. So clarity is essential. But keep in mind, of course, that it is a process. It's not automatic. It's something that is ongoing, and you have to continue to seek that clarity as you move forward. But there's nothing like putting yourself in the game and building that clarity as you move along. So it means it calls for awareness.
Yeah, even as I'm listening to you chat there, Roll, I'm remembering an after show conversation I was having with Natasha Rampasad, because she joins in from time to time on these conversations. She's the owner of Infinity Creations, and we were talking about that in one of the after show conversations where Natasha has a gift for bringing things to life through visualizations. And I was telling her, and she was sharing with me that it's possible she may be doing something with entrepreneurs soon, helping them to be able to learn how to tap into that sense of visualizing their vision for themselves and their businesses and so on. So, that's something we're definitely looking forward to from Natasha, because that's going to happen either this month or very early in January, helping entrepreneurs tap into
That's great.
establishing that visual element so that they could stay motivated to be on track. But another alongside that role, another thing that you and I have coming up also pertains to planning, because planning is also an important element of the process of getting together and getting ready. So my question for you is, even as you think about planning role, um, what would you have to share with the viewing audience about the business planning webinar that we have coming up soon?
The the for me, the most important aspect of it is the uncertainty that we're experiencing now. All right. um, Planning and developing projects, pursuing your business endeavors in an uncertain time makes it a little bit more challenging. Okay, so what I'm going to encourage individuals to do is to use some sort of methodology to arrive at the goals that they want to achieve next year. Certainly, the first thing we're going to look at is how to do an environmental scan. We have to take cognizance of the reality that we're facing. And one of the methods we're going to use is the PESTLE method, where we look at various aspects of the economy, of the environment, and determine how these trends impact positively or negatively on our business. All right. I found too often entrepreneurs, business persons may do a too cursory approach, and they need to be a little bit more thorough in understanding how these trends impact upon them. Coming out of that would be issues of risk and things that threaten your business. And a big part of planning is management. What are the risks you're going to face? What happens if COVID goes on for another year? What happens if imports are affected? What happens if your supply chain is affected? You can't get raw material in. That's a big part of planning for uncertainty, and it deals with risk management. So we look at the risk, we assess the risk, and we look at ways to mitigate or protect for things that may happen. So we asking the question really, what if, right? And from that we build scenarios, right? So scenario one might be COVID goes on for the next year. What do we put in place? What about if we have to open up and then close? That's another scenario. Opening and closing. What do you do as an organization? And I don't want to sell out all of it, but certainly building flexibility in your systems and revisiting your business model is a big part of helping you with that element. The other aspects of it, Alina will speak to some more practical areas of it, which will involve things like marketing planning, service planning, operational planning, cash flow planning. These are the elements that will be added to give persons an idea of how to treat with uncertainty.
Definitely. And even as we continue to look at the information presented in the book, Mike Murdoch talks about three important keys. And the first one that really stood out to me, that I think is a great reminder for entrepreneurs, is the whole idea of recognizing that you are a perfect solution for somebody. And I really love that, because it
Yes.
reminds us of why it's important to give honor to our uniqueness, our unique vision, our particular combination of qualifications, skills, and insight, because that is what makes us perfect for somebody, for some group of people who need it just the way you produce it, you serve it, you give it. Any of the other keys that Mike Murdoch would have talked about, Roll, did any of those other keys stand out to you?
The third one he mentioned, when you discover to whom you've been assigned, you will experience great peace, fulfillment, and provision for your life. So it's sort of connected to the first one, in the sense that the whole idea of connecting with the persons that you were born, created, and fashioned for gives a sense of assurance and a sense of peace and comfort that you don't have to try to be anything else. You can just be yourself. You can be you. And the persons in branding, they call it your tribe, and we spoke to it yesterday in a session. The whole idea of finding a tribe, and when you find your tribe, it's not about striving anymore. You've found that place where people understand your offering, right? They value your offering, and you build a nice connection, and you build the business, and you build the brand together. So I think the third one certainly stood out for me. Sometimes so much trying to please and trying to be something other than what we naturally are and what we naturally appreciate.
Definitely. So this chapter 12 from Mike Murdoch, definitely took us on a journey of recognizing the importance of faith in the entrepreneurial journey, faith in God, faith in self, faith in the vision. Even as we wrap up this convo, Roll, what final thoughts would you want to leave with entrepreneurs and professionals as they continue with unpacking their vision and getting ready for a new season in business and development?
I like how the chapter starts. God designs the future and you choose it, and that you need a measure of humility to understand that it's not about self-sufficiency, it's about being interconnected. All right. And if we look around, this pandemic is a quick example of that. No one person, no one government can survive and make it through this pandemic. We need all hands on deck. We need everyone playing its part. So in terms of moving your business forward, we need to understand our vertical connection, that is a connection with God. We need to understand or a horizontal connection with other persons who connect with our vision, and even our customers. So we begin to understand what we actually forming together is a team. They all are essential part of developing your product and developing your services. We need each other, and we're all interconnected. So that in particular helped, um, was helpful. I found, because I see too many business persons operating a business unto themselves, not understanding they need customers. Without your customers,
Yeah.
where's your business? All right,
Yes.
and without God, you understand, where's this how are you staying given the challenges that we face? So that I found very helpful, and it's one of those what you would call your transformational quotes.
Definitely. So, guys, this has been Book Club Conversation Series 3. As we've taken time to chat through the importance of faith and belief, I'm looking at chapter 12 of the book, The Uncommon Dream, written by Mike Murdoch. I'm Alina Lewis, and joining me as often as he can is Roll Impact Strategist at VisionWorks Solutions. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue
Pleasure.
with these book club conversations. So until tomorrow, guys, have a good night and stay motivated to unpack that dream.